Hi there, I'm Diane Walker. It is October 23rd, 2020, and I'm the managing attorney of a civil legal organization in Indiana called District 10 Pro Bono Project. And this is the first of a series of podcasts and videos which will discuss topics like family law, bankruptcy, wills, powers of attorney, guardianships, and will hopefully provide some initial guidance to people who don't have attorneys and who need to learn about some of these things. So today I'm going to start off with an introduction to what District 10 Pro Bono Project, or D10, does. We're in South Central Indiana, and we cover Clay, Greene, Hendricks, Lawrence, Monroe, Morgan, Owen, Putnam, Sullivan, and Vigo counties. And we're part of a larger organization called Pro Bono Indiana that's statewide. So if you're not in one of those counties, you can go to indianalegalhelp.org and find out what services are available in your county. We help people with civil legal aid problems only, not criminal law. And some people need to know the difference between civil and criminal law because it's not intuitive necessarily. A criminal law case is one in which you're being accused of a crime or a violation of the law or an ordinance. So that could include driving without a license, drunk driving, burning trash inside city limits, those sorts of things. And it's basically the state of Indiana or the city of Bloomington or, say, the town of Olytic versus you. Those are all criminal cases, and unfortunately we can't help there. The reason that we can't help is that if it's a misdemeanor crime or more serious, you're guaranteed by the U.S. Constitution to have an attorney. And the state and counties all pay for public defenders for people who can't afford to pay. Civil cases, some of which we can help with, are cases in which two people or companies or more organizations are trying to settle something. So you might be divorcing your spouse or establishing paternity or getting guardianship for your grandkids. You might be defending a debt from a credit card company, needing to file bankruptcy, needing a will, power of attorney, or having a problem with your landlord. Those are all examples of cases with which we might be able to help. And many of our sister programs around the state that I mentioned that you can access by indianalegalhelp.org can help with those too. So District 10 services are for lower income people. District 10 Pro Bono Project and all of our sister projects get money from the Indiana Bar Foundation, the State Supreme Court, other sources, private donations, that sort of thing. So just like most people need medical help occasionally, you're probably going to have a legal problem sometimes too in your life, although we certainly hope not. Hopefully, if you're listening to this, you have the money to hire an attorney because that is the best way to go. And even if it's something that you think might be simple, there might be unforeseen troubles. You will have noticed in life, perhaps, that things are more complicated than they look. And because the law impacts all of us throughout our life, things happen. It can be incredibly easy to mess up a legal problem. Lawyers go to school for 7 years for a reason. It's tough to navigate, and all of the old sayings are true. The person who is his own lawyer has a fool for a client, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound in cure, a stitch in time, etc., etc. It can all save you lots of money and heartache if you can hire an attorney in the first place when you're trying to do something, because if you mess it up, it can take a lot of time and money to fix it and put it the way that you needed it in the first place, and it's probably going to be more expensive in the long run. So long story short, if you can afford legal help before you try anything affecting your family, your property, or your rights, please, please, please hire an attorney. It'll likely save you money in the long run. But the plain fact is that a lot of people can't afford lawyers, and that's where District 10 Pro Bono Project and our sister projects try to step in and help. Lots of people need help with family law. That's probably the most common things that we see, and that includes divorces, custody, parenting time, support, paternities, guardianship, all that good stuff. And that's where we see the biggest need. Like I said, that's probably where our sister programs see the biggest need. District 10 Pro Bono Project has a program that we call Counsel in the Court. And during pre-COVID times, you could come to the courthouse in your county and you could get help with family law from an attorney and get help with paperwork, because paperwork is everything to lawyers in the courts. So now that we're in the midst of a pandemic, we don't quite have the luxury of having the personal touch of seeing someone face to face. But in some ways, it's a lot easier for people who need help, because you can call our attorney, Deb Davis, anytime between 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday, and you can get some help immediately. You can call the phone number 812-269-6463, and she'll get back with you. When you leave a message, let Deb know whether you'd rather talk over the phone, or if you want and you have the technology, you can ask for a Zoom meeting, which sometimes can be really helpful, especially if you've got paperwork that you need help with. But if you don't have a smartphone or you're not comfortable with the technology, that's fine too. We'll figure it out. Now, if you already have an attorney for your problem, we can't help you with counsel in the court, because attorneys have ethical rules that say if you already have an attorney, we can't interfere with that relationship and you need to talk to your own attorney. But if you're on your own, we can answer questions like, how can I get a divorce in Indiana? What's the process? What do I need to file? How do I go about establishing paternity for my child? What do I need to file? I need guardianship of kids I'm taking care of. What needs to happen? I want to give power of attorney to my daughter or son, so what do I need to do? Couple of things. First of all, even if you're only at the stage where you're just thinking about a legal question and you're not in the middle of it, feel free to call us. Information is power, and the earlier you get information about anything legal, the better, the easier, the less stressful the whole process will be. And I do want to caution folks who are in a domestic violence situation or where you're afraid of anyone who might have access to your phone. Call us only if there's a way that's safe for you, and whether that means using a trusted person's phone or calling from a landline that doesn't have caller ID, or you're sure that your abuser doesn't have your password to your phone and can't figure it out. Make sure you do anything that you need to do to stay safe. If the person that you're afraid of is going to go ballistic if they see you've been talking to a lawyer. The second thing, and a lot of the things that I just mentioned, divorce, paternity, powers of attorney, guardianship, they all need paperwork either for the court or for your own records and needs. So one of the things that we help with is family law paperwork. It's helpful if you can go online, if you do have the technology or access to the internet and a computer, at indianalegalhelp.org. Again, that's indianalegalhelp.org. And there are court forms there. The website doesn't have every court form that you might need, but it has those which are the most common and used by people. It may be of help to you if you can look at the forms or try filling them in before you call, and that could wind up helping us too, because we're not starting from scratch. And actually, one more thing, if you have a family law emergency, calling District 10 Pro Bono's Counsel in the Court helpline is the quickest way you can get help. For reasons I'll go into later, we need a lot of lead time in order to be able to help with other family law problems. So if you suspect, for instance, that your child's in danger, first of all, call child welfare. But second, if you feel like you need an emergency change in custody or parenting time, call District 10 Pro Bono's Counsel in the Court. They can help with emergency. And it probably doesn't hurt to repeat that phone number again. Sorry if I get tiresome, but repeating things is the best way to have people remember. The phone number is 812-269-6463, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Yeah. Unfortunately, while we know that emergencies occur with other legal problems, with counsel in the court we can only help with family law problems because the money we get from the Supreme Court is reserved for family law problems in counsel in the court. Another way that you can get phone advice and help with more than family law problems is to call our intake line at the Indiana University School of Law. The law professor and law students who man that line can help with a number of legal problems, including non-family law problems. They give advice and help. They also do our intake. So if you have a family law case with abuse to you or to your kids, we really try to provide lawyers to folks who are in that situation. What we do is we rely on volunteer attorneys in your community to represent people pro bono or for free. The intake line number for that is 812-855-2390. Now here's what you need to know about calling the intake line if you're trying to get an attorney to go to court with you. We can only take people who are at 125% of poverty or less. The intake worker will help you calculate whether you qualify over the phone. If you don't qualify for our intake and have a family law problem, again, call counsel in the court because our restrictions for that are looser. Even if you do qualify financially, we might not be able to get you an attorney, and that's because we rely on attorneys to step up and do pro bono work. And while a lot of his attorneys are very good about it, attorneys aren't required in Indiana to do pro bono work. So even if you do call in and qualify financially for help with an attorney, there's no guarantee that I can find an attorney who'll be willing to help you for free. I literally call around to attorneys who've done pro bono work before. It's like matchmaking. I can't always find attorneys for every case. But if you're in an abuse situation, or your kids are, even if we can't find an attorney, we'll do our best to give you some help. Whether that's advice, help with paperwork, referring you to someone who can help. Keeping people safe from violence is a big priority of ours, so we'll do our best to help you, even if we can't find an attorney. The last thing is if you're calling our intake line to apply for an attorney, we're going to need at least 30 days lead time, and that's after you do all the financials and legal interviews. And we do try to make this as low barrier as possible, but the earlier you can get to us, the better. The reason is, first of all, is that we have to see if we can find an attorney, but then the attorney will also need time to prepare, work it into their schedules, and oftentimes the attorneys have very busy schedules. So in some cases, if you've seen or heard this information kind of late and you have less than 30 days, then you're hearing your deadline, we might be able to help you with a continuance so that we can find more time to help with an attorney, but we can't always count on that because it's up to the judge, the law. Sometimes it's an emergency where it might hurt your case to wait. So basically call the intake line as soon as you can. Our intake to get lawyers isn't restricted to family law. We don't do everything, but we do some of the other things that people need, especially during COVID. So one of the big things that we do that I feel really good about that is very helpful to people is Chapter 7 bankruptcies. And those provide an enormous amount of relief in your financial life. They require a lot of work, even on your part, in gathering paperwork, and Chapter 7 isn't the best option for everybody. But if you have questions about Chapter 7 bankruptcies or debt relief, feel free to call the intake line to apply for an attorney at 812-855-2390. We can also help sometimes if there's a problem with your house, like a lien or question in ownership, or if there's been a death and you need some help with transferring the property to the heirs, but say there's not really enough money in the estate that a lawyer can get paid. We can help find volunteers who can help you through that process. We do adoptions. The attorney fees are free if you want to do adoptions. There may be some other costs like home studies or criminal background, but in some cases, some of those fees can be waived. Generally, if you have a question about whether we do a case, please feel free to call the intake line. We're happy to tell you whether it's something we might take, and maybe even if we can't help, we can provide referrals to other services elsewhere. So another thing that we do is we help prevent evictions. Now, at present, this is only in Monroe County, and you might have heard of it as the HEP program, or the Housing and Eviction Prevention Project. The Eviction Prevention Project is a pilot project, again, only in Monroe County. But what it does is that if you have an eviction coming up or you have a landlord-tenant question, you can call 812-340-8189, or you can email to evictionavoidance@gmail.com. You can also make those contacts even if you don't have something immediate coming up, but just want to connect with an attorney who can help. And this is a great project. We work closely with the courts. It can provide you access not only with legal advice and short representation with attorneys, but it can also hook you and your landlord up with mediation, and in some case with help finding and keeping housing. If you have an eviction hearing in Monroe County, the Judge Stafford, will let you know before the hearing that the help is available virtually, and you can get with the project then and there. But again, if you want to, you can call beforehand or email. It's 812-340-8189, and the email is evictionavoidance@gmail.com. So at the time we're making this video, there's a freeze on evictions, but that will end in January 2021. So it's best to start talking to your landlord, figuring out places to get help, generally getting your ducks in a row. I know it's really frightening, but the best thing you can do in order to keep your housing is to make a plan, encourage communication with your landlord, District 10 did get a grant from the Wabash Valley United Way to help Clay, Vigo, and Sullivan counties with eviction or landlord-tenant advice or help with paperwork. This is a temporary grant. It's running now, but it will probably expire in February 21. So you can reach that help by calling Deb Davis at 812-269-6463, and that is the same number as the Family Law Council in the courts. I apologize because especially the eviction and landlord-tenant law doesn't cover all of our counties. Unfortunately, the grants we get often determine where we can help because the person or the organization who gives us the money tells us what counties they prioritize to help. One last final thing. A good resource that can help low-income people anywhere in the state is indiana.freelegalanswers.org. Again, that's indiana.freelegalanswers.org. This covers all civil legal questions, and it's the entire state. You go to this website and you do a series of financial questions to see if you qualify, and then you type in your question, and a lawyer who knows that area of the law can choose your question to answer. This is a project of our larger parent organization, Pro Bono Indiana, and it's pretty wide-ranging in terms of subject matter. Attorneys do choose which questions they feel comfortable answering, so you might have to be patient in getting an answer to your question, but you can ask repeat questions, up to 3 questions, and it is a great resource. And that's it. I'll repeat all the information again as to ways that you can contact us. If you have a civil family law problem, call 812-269-6463, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. If you have a non-emergency situation, abuse in your relationship, or any other civil legal problem, call 812-855-2390. And again, if there's abuse in your relationship, please make sure you're calling from a safe line. That's our main intake line, and you can call anytime. They'll call you back. If you have a concern with your landlord or if you're being evicted and you live in Monroe County, call 812-340-8189, or you can contact us via email at evictionavoidance@gmail.com. Finally, if you have an eviction problem or landlord-tenant problem and you're in Clay, Vigo, or Sullivan counties, you can call Deb Davis, our attorney, for eviction or landlord-tenant advice at 812-269-6463. If you confuse the phone numbers, no worries. We'll tell you the best place to call for your problem. And if you're outside one of our counties, and I'll reel them off once again, it's Clay, Greene, Hendricks, Lawrence, Monroe, Morgan, Owen, Putnam, Sullivan, and Vigo counties. Contact indianalegalhelp.org. Check out that website to get help from one of our sister programs. All of them have a lot of different programs, and every single one of my colleagues is in this business because they do want to help. So that's it. Stay safe. Come back for other videos from us. The next video will be on custody in Indiana. So if you're interested, subscribe on YouTube or check out our website at d10probono.org for more podcasts and videos. Thank you.